Hey everybody, so welcome to spring 2023, and we are going to check out our results of our zone 5 winter protection of fig trees planted outside. This is my Chicago Hardy. Well, first of all, a few things about this winter. We had 1 week only of sub-zero temperatures, Fahrenheit, and so it's been a pretty mild winter overall. I think we had 1 or 2 other days, like on separate occasions, where the nighttime temperatures went below zero, and below zero, they went up to about the teens, like minus 14 Fahrenheit or so, during our coldest nights. And so what I tried to do, this is my Chicago Hardy. I've already unwrapped the Corky's honey that's on the side of the house, and I'll show you the results of that a little bit later. But this is unveiling the Chicago Hardy now. I'm thinking it'll probably have the same effects as the Chicago or as the Corky's honey, so that I can show you. Now what I did was I put wood around this, and then I wrapped it with a blanket. And what I did around the Corky's honey was I wrapped it like paper around it, and I did some we got the same situation going on here. I did some cardboard around it, some paper, and then a blanket, and then some tarp. And look what we've got here. I've got wood. I wrapped it up with paper. This is paper. I had a blanket on it, and then a plastic bag instead of a tarp. And as you can see, mold. Same thing with my Corky's honey. Let's see how bad it is. Oh, I also had, mice. We had mice go in and chew through some of the paper of the Corky's honey. So we've lost some of that internal, I don't know what it's called, that filament that's in the middle of the bark, gone, which means it's probably dead down to a certain point. But let's see if we've got green under. I don't know, this is kind of a good size. It looks green to me here. It might just be dead up here, and what I could do is take the lobber and cut that off. But the base of it looks pretty good. I'm going to go ahead and leave it open now. Our temperatures have risen. Sorry, we got a lot of noise. But the temperatures have gone up now. The evenings seem to be staying over the 30-degree mark, and so I think it's all right. This is a Chicago Hardy. I'll probably spray it or clean it with some Clorox wipes just to get any of the mold off of the bark. And then a friend suggested I spray it with some, oh gosh, that's peroxide. Hydrogen peroxide is also really good to kill algae or bacteria and such. So we're going to either spray it with that, or I'll just wipe it down with my Clorox wipes. And then we're going to leave it out and see if it comes to, or if it starts growing branches out of this trunk, or if they come out from the roots. And so if they don't come out of the trunk, we know that it's dead. It doesn't look dead though. The color seems good to me on the main part of that trunk, but we don't know. Now I'll take you over to the Corky's honey and show you what I had to do there. Okay, so we're here at the Corky's honey. We planted this tree last year in summer of 2022, and we had all kinds of problems with this. First of all, it dropped almost every fig that was on it, and it had, well over 18, 19 figs on it when I bought it from the nursery. And it just went through all kinds of issues, and it didn't ripen, and I eventually planted it into the ground. I had the white paper around the trunk of it that came like that was supporting the stake, or it was supporting it next to the stake with that nursery paper, and I left the nursery paper on, and it grew roots all in there. So I mean, a lot of mistakes with this one and others, but so when it's through its first winter here, winter of 2022, 2023, today's April 2nd, 2023, and I unwrapped it yesterday or the day before, and what had happened was I had wrapped it again with like cardboard and paper and a paper bag on top where I had all the branches, and then I had a blanket around it, a moving blanket, and then a tarp. Well, because the moving blanket was really far down and it was touching the ground, the moisture from the snow and the rains and that sort of thing, it soaked up into the entire blanket, and it made it all moist in there all winter. And so when I unwrapped it, it was wet, and needless to say, we had a lot of mold up at the top. And as I scratched the trunk, let's see if you could tell, you probably can't see, I can't focus in on it very well, but the trunk was still green. And so what I did was I just lobbed off the top where it had all the branches. I took the branches off just to be safe, and I wiped it all down with Clorox wipes, took all the exterior mold off of it, and it's been drying in the sun and wind, and it was really cold out yesterday. It actually snowed a bit, but it was over like 37 degrees. But it was cold, and it went down to about 27 degrees last night, and I figured that it would be all right because the trunk is fairly thick, and we've got no branches on it anymore, and I just wanted it to harden up a bit anyway. So again, with this one, we're going to see if we get branches growing from the base of it, or has it survived, and will it give me some shoots off of the main trunk here. Crossing our fingers, waiting to see. Great sign on the Chicago Hardy. I only cut off about this small piece, about just under an inch on one side and an inch on the other, and we're good to go. We got green cadmium, right, and that stuff is in the middle, so we're all good. And I wiped it down with some disinfectant wipes. So learning from my mistakes, I thought I could get away with not putting a vent, some sort of vent out into the air like everybody recommends, but I'm sure that was another tremendous mistake, because as far as the mold goes. But I mean, as you can see, we're in good shape. They're both alive. Just looking forward to getting another video in about 2 weeks to see if there's any bud formation. If there is, success. Zone 5, we can wrap our fig trees. You can expect a little bit of damage, but really not much as far as you can see with mine. And we can have fig trees in the ground, hopefully. So, Zone 5. So this is my second experiment. This was, oh God, I hope I don't find anything crazy under here. I buried one of my fig trees, the Letizia. I buried it pretty much above ground, trying to see how a fig tree would do with the burial style. They call it the old Italian man method. And, oh goodness gracious, I know I'm gonna find some crazy stuff under here, so let me get down to here. It's under this black bag here, or this black plastic cover. When I get down there, I'll restart the video. Oh my God, I don't believe my own eyes here. Here's the Letizia. Just unearthed it, literally. Look at it. It looks amazing. I mean, it even looks like it was starting to bud out under the soil. Holy cow, man. I thought this thing was gonna be dead for sure because the ground was so frozen. I mean, look, all I did was I pulled it out of the ground. I stuck it in this burlap bag, and then I buried it with paper on it and zero mold. Look at this. It's alive and well, like better than I could have hoped for, to be honest. So, wow. I'm really impressed, really shocked. Alright, so this was the burial style method here in Zone 5B. Pretty mild winter, but the ground was frozen solid. And I had on top of this a few bags of topsoil. And now it looks to be like the best soil ever, because it's just loaded with worms and looks beautiful. And then I put a couple of bags of mulch on it. Unbelievable. Great success. Alright, now the difference between, so we've got another experiment going on. Those fig trees that I grew in the sunroom all year long versus the ones I had put in the garage over winter. And now I am taking them out of the garage. Again, this is April 2nd. What I'm noticing is there's a significant difference. The ones that were in the garage are loaded full of figlets. Now this is it's not really yellow longneck. This is what we think is the emerald strawberry, but who knows? We may be surprised. That was the first year it fruited, and the fruits were large, but the inside was a little bit red, and they tasted like strawberry jam. And so this is the second year it's fruiting for me. This was a cutting last year. I know, it's crazy. So this year we're going to taste the fruit again and see if there's any difference, or do we still feel like they might be something other than yellow longneck. I don't mind. The fruits were enormous and beautiful. So the Negron is also budding out and fruiting out. Everything is budding out. Now the things that I had in the fig trees that I had in the sunroom, this is one of them. This is the Figo Preto. It's got a little figlet right there, as you can see. The growth stunted on everything that was in the sunroom at some point, and none of them are really giving me fruits. Here's another one. This is the other quote unquote yellow longneck that we don't really think is a yellow longneck. Look at how many leaves it's got on it, but no fruit. on this one. And did you see how many fruit I've got on the one that I had in the garage? So I think the sleep factor is incredibly important. We'll see. I'm sure it'll be fruiting out as well, but what a difference. Like, let me see if I can just have it focus in. I do have double bumps going on, and so I'm sure this will fruit out too, but man, it you know, a lot of its energy went towards leaf making, whereas this one, the first thing it popped out were figlets. Okay, so this is what I've noticed in terms of difference between these sunroom fig trees versus the ones I had in the garage. The ones I had in the garage really went to sleep. They rested. The ones in the sunroom did not. And I feel like they were really affected by that lack of sleep, and they don't seem as vigorous to me. They don't seem like, they seem lazy to me. You know what I mean? Like, they are tired. Might be all in my head, but I mean, everything is just fruiting. That was in the garage. This was in the sunroom too. And what had happened was, because the temperature is nice in the sunroom, I had a problem with spider mites, and so I sprayed these guys with a baking soda solution, which burned the leaves. And I think that's probably what really stunted their growth, were those spider mites, where I didn't really have that problem in the garage, you know. And so the treatment, you know, really set them back, I feel like. And so I've been spraying everything with neem oil instead, the neem oil solution, at nights, and that's better. I feel like the baking soda was way too harsh. However, I have tried putting the sprinkling baking soda on the soil when when I up potted one of my fig plants, and then because of the fungus gnats, they drive me crazy. I feel like I'm infested now with fungus gnats, but that baking soda is like sprinkled on their soil is really, it destroyed them, and I keep watching that one plant that I did that with to make sure that it's not killing the plant. So far so good. It's been about 3 days, and there are 0 gnats in that. I know this because I put a plastic bag over it as well to keep the moisture in, and to sort of test to see if I've got gnats flying around in there, and there's nothing. So plus for me. I feel like that was a good experiment. The other thing I did, so because that worked so well, I tried sprinkling it onto the soil of the cuttings that I'm trying to root right now. And so I've got them in a sealed up box. We will see after a few weeks, and to see if there's an infestation in that box once I open it. But I don't think so, because they're really hating that baking soda, or the baking soda. Anyway, so these are our garage trees, and I'm really happy. This coming fall, my plan is to put everything in the garage and have them sleep for a while and bring them out like I just did. The weather's going to be beautiful. There's nothing, it's not going down below 30s at night, so I'm just leaving these out for the week. Let them leaf out in the direct sun, and we're not getting too much direct sun right now. We're going to have several overcast days. I feel like it's a great situation for them to wake up in. I am putting this one, because it was in the sunroom, in the garage so that it doesn't get any sunburn. And the little babies, I'm gonna put them in the garage just because it's too windy out here, and maybe too chilly for them. So they're too young. I don't want to test it out on them yet at this point. So 2-week progress report since I started shuffling them in and out. The weather's been really beautiful. The nights don't dip below 50s, and so I've been leaving them out this past week. But before that, when the nights were going down to 20s and 30s, I would drag them inside into the garage. But they're all doing really, really well, except for the ones that I had outside that stayed out all winter, and I wrapped them up, and I'll show you guys those later. But this is the yellow long neck or the emerald strawberry, whichever it is. We'll find out for sure this year. It's absolutely full of figs, which is super exciting. This guy is the Colonel Littman's Black Cross. I'm guessing that's a Breba, because all these are, I'm guessing, are Brebas because they're all on old wood. So they're all doing pretty good, except for the sunstroke they all have. But that's okay because the new leaves are coming out, and I think also it's really windy over here, and so I think that has something to do with the leaves looking decapitated. But it's been a really unseasonably hot sun. I mean, again, we're in zone 5B in Illinois, and we've had a few 80-degree days. 80, 81, 82, crazy. Oh, I got a pastilier from Raintree. So this is the pastilier that everybody says from Raintree that will fruit the first season. So we'll see. That's my Celeste. It was looking so good inside the house, but yeah, the sun is just scorching it. This is my Smith. I don't see any double bumps yet, but I would think that they'll be on the new growth. So and the new growth is not that big yet, so I hope I get to taste a Smith this year. Rondi's got a figlet, and this guy is the Italian Latarula. It's got a figlet. Does it have any more? No. So Rondi's got figlets. Peter's honey is filled with Breba. Look at that. This is the Peter's honey. Sorry, it's a little bit out of focus, but yeah, loaded with Brebas. Right? I mean, I think those are Brebas. Yeah. I think those are all Brebas. So this one is another Rondi, and it's leafing out like crazy, but I don't see any well, the branches are tiny. No Breba on this Rondi like there is on the other one. Is that a Breba? I would think I think that's a Breba on the other one that I showed you earlier. Yes, it's a Breba. Oh, it doesn't look so good from behind. Let me show you. Yep. But that's a Breba on a Rondi. This is Spataphora. We've got a Breba. the Sputifora last year, and we got a taste of the very first figs. It was a first year tree from a cutting, and we got a fig off of it, and it tasted like cherries. It blew my mind. And so I'm really excited to see if it keeps that flavor. I really hope it doesn't change. I hope it just gets better and more cherry tasting like. But let me show you. Got a bunch of little babies. Here's my Corky's honey. So as you can see, I scratched it. That top wood is probably all dead now. So I'm hoping that we get something from the base of it. I know the base of it was still good when I checked last, and so we'll see. We're waiting to see. So now it's been about 2 weeks since I've unwrapped it, and so far nothing. Same with my Chicago Hardy in the front of the house. And then I'll tell you, the tree I had buried, the Letizia, looked amazing, but I realized that at the base of the trunk, well, I'll show you. At the base of the trunk, it had damage, and that was from last year. It was like, you know, barely hanging on by a thread, but having buried it in the dirt, it stayed really in good condition. But when I put it in a pot, you know, it had trouble standing up, and I realized that it had been damaged. So what I did was I cut it off, and I just stuck it in some dirt to see if I can get it to root again. But I guarantee that had that been in good condition, that would have leafed out already. The bud was, you know, prime for leafing. It looked amazing, and but that was the only factor that is going to lead to its demise, probably. So we'll see. Maybe it has enough energy to root out. We'll see. But there you go. So my learnings from this second year of growing figs, a big learning experience was that the fig trees that I had in the sunroom, I think I said it before, all year, didn't fruit out as much as the trees that I allowed to go dormant in the garage. So from now on, I'm going to put them all in the garage because they just came back full of energy. For example, just as an example, this yellow long neck / emerald strawberry, right? You see how full of figs it is? That's because this one was in the garage. My tester one, here's the tester one that was in the sunroom. Look at the difference. Not a single solitary fig on it. The leaves are decapitated, all of them. It's stunted, you know. It doesn't know what the heck is going on. I mean, there's buds all over it, and eventually they're going to leaf out, but it's going to be so late. It's already middle of April, has no real new growth on it like everything else does. Peter's honey, like, I had it in the sunroom for a while, but then when I realized it's not going to do anything, I took all the figs off of it, and I stuck it in the garage and let it go to sleep, and look, it came back full force. And so every tree, pretty much, that I had in the sunroom, I feel like it was the wrong thing to do. All right, so all of you out there, if you've got a sunroom, grow your cuttings and stuff like I did in there, right? These were all in the sunroom. But the fuller grown trees, if you think you're going to get figs off of them in a sunroom or something like that, don't do it. I think it really sets them back. Let them go to sleep is the takeaway. Okay. Hey guys, so 2 days later, and guess what? I've had to bring in all my fig trees into the garage. Why, you ask? Let me show you. Snow. Yep, we got hit from 80-degree weather to freezing cold. Freezing cold wind and snow. So this is what we deal with in Zone 5B here in Illinois. So it takes a special kind of commitment to grow fig trees here in these parts. So everybody's doing fine in here. But I did bring them in, which probably means we've got to reacclimate them to the sun when we take them out. So, you know, double, triple, quadruple the work of someone that lives in a nicer climate. I'm freezing. But in the garage, it's probably, I don't know, now that I opened the door, I brought the temperature down, but it was about a nice comfy 50 degrees in here or so. And they should be fine. I've got some lights up there, but I really would love to just leave the lights on in the garage for them, and maybe I will. Shh, don't tell my hubby. But, you know, again, I don't want to set them up for failure either. I'm not going to turn the light on every day for them. So that's what they're going to be dealing with, those two little grow lights up there. But again, they should be fine. We've got nasty weather for the next several days. Then it goes up to 71 degrees in 2 days. For 2 days, it will be 71 degrees. Then it plummets right back down. So I don't know, I might shuffle them back out, or at least just open the garage door and let them enjoy the heat and a little bit of sun, and then that's it. So, to be continued. Thanks, guys, for watching. I really appreciate those of you that subscribed, following along on this fun adventure. All right.